What's going on, Giants fans? It is April 19th. Probably gonna upload this around 4:20ish. So, if you guys celebrate 420, happy holidays to you. Last time I uploaded a video, it was like mid-March, and that was Giants Report number 1, obviously. If you missed that one, go catch it real quick. I went over like the major free agency signings and stuff like that. Recently, it's been kind of quiet. We did sign some guys, make some cuts today. Today was actually Brandon Marshall getting cut, so that one I'll get into a little bit later. I'll get into the draft, obviously, the JPP trade I was yet to go over. So we'll go over everything that's going on, some news, the Eric Flowers not showing up to practice, and the Odell stuff, should we sign Des Bryant, all that kind of stuff. So let's get into it. So the Jason Pierre-Paul trade, this one was kind of surprising, and I kind of thought it was going to happen, but then I thought it wasn't going to happen. I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, huh, JPP got traded. It was hard to believe. He's done so much for his franchise, if you think about it. He was playing for us since 2010, had his ups, had his downs. Obviously, the 4th of July incident, came back from that, was a pretty effective player, so props to him for that, of course. He was a big part of our 2011 Super Bowl run. He was an up-and-coming star at that point. Slowed down a little bit, didn't really turn to the guy we thought he was going to be, but I'd like to thank JPP for his time here, and obviously getting over the injury, it was really nice to see. So on the flip side, let's talk about the trade in general. So we acquired the 3rd round pick from Tampa Bay, 69 overall, and their 4th rounder, 108 overall. We gave them Jason Pierre-Paul, obviously, and gave them our 102nd overall pick, our 4th round pick. Basically, the trade, you can look at it, is Jason Pierre-Paul for an early 3rd round pick. And would I do that if JPP was on a low earnings kind of contract? No, I would not. I don't think it's worth that. But I'm looking at his contract now. He's set to make $11 million next year, $13 million the year after that, and $11 million the year after that. And then in 2021, he's an unrestricted free agent. So basically, we would have had to pay him for the next 3 years, over $10 million every year, over $11 million every year. And I think this move was worth it. You think about getting that contract off the books. You have Olivier Vernon making a lot of money on the other defensive end side. New defensive coordinator. We weren't sure if JPP was going to fit in this. And you know what? We get more draft picks for a team that I think is rebuilding. So I like this move a lot. I obviously wish JPP the best in Tampa. I'm pretty sure he has family down there or something like that. So, I think that was a good place to send them if you're going to send them anywhere. And as for us, we just got to hit on this 3rd round pick and obviously our 4th round pick as well. I'm on the belief that the Giants should be in a position to acquire as many picks as they possibly can. Some people expect us to compete next year. I, for one, do not believe that. I think the Giants are going to be more of a 7-9, 8-8 type of team next year, but we've got to see how the draft plays out first. So I really like this move. You're going to acquire more draft picks. The salary that JPP was making was just too much. Him and Jerry Reese were, really good friends, they said, so I'm sure he gave him a little bump in the salary for that reason. So getting that contract off the books, big move by Dave Gettleman, and as I said, I like it, so good move. As for the cuts we made, so Dwayne Harris was cut first. I don't know why I put him second, but he was cut first, I think like 3 or 4 weeks ago. He was supposed to make $2.4 million this year. I personally don't think he's worth it anymore. He hasn't really shown me anything in a couple of years. He had that one good year with us. I think it was 2016, I think it was. He had like around 40 catches and had a few receiving touchdowns for us. I mean, Dwayne Harris was a nice guy to have, when he was in his prime. But once he kind of got older and lost his speed and, his athleticism and all that, he really was not worth it anymore. So, I like to get someone that's younger and more spry back there to return our punts and kicks. For Brandon Marshall, this one you could see from a mile away. I don't know why it took him so long. I mean, we're here on April 19th, just a week before the draft, and he finally got cut. I figured he'd be cut right away, and before free agency even started, I guessed that both of these guys were going to be cut. It made the most sense, and I'm happy we did it. And if my math adds up correctly, we saved $7.5 million between these two players, and honestly, I don't think they're worth that much. So great move by Gettleman there. So far, I'm liking everything, and it just had to be done. So Brandon Marshall's going to end up playing, like 4 games for the Giants in his career, or 5, whatever it was, and it's not what we all expected, but it's sad it had to end this way. And as I said, I think we're rebuilding, so there's no point in having a 34-year-old receiver on your roster at this point. So as we sit here on the night of April 19th, these people, or these guys, are the names that I've heard the most affiliated with the Giants for their 2nd overall pick. Obviously, Saquon Barkley. It seems like majority of the fan base is sold on him and they want him at number 2, I don't mind getting Barkley, and I'll go into that in a little bit. I just want to go over the players real quick. Josh Rosen, quarterback for UCLA, the guy that I want. I wanted Baker Mayfield in the beginning. I don't think the Giants have any interest at all because of his off-field issues, maybe his size, whatever. So Josh Rosen is a guy I watched a lot of tape on, and I'm confident that he's going to be a star in this league, and I would hate to see him go to the Jets, so I really hope we pick him. Bradley Chubb, defensive end for NC State. I haven't really watched much of Chubb. I've seen some of his highlights, obviously. I was impressed because, you know, they're highlights, and he was compared to Von Miller and Khalil Mack put into one player, which obviously is great. I mean, if that's how good he is, then you know what? He's worth it, but I'm not sure. You know, I would rather take a defensive end than a running back, second pick if I had to choose. Honestly, I think defensive end is a more of an impact position, so I would be fine with that over Saquon Barkley. And then we have Quentin Nelson, the guard for Notre Dame, who, you know, these draft graders and everybody says this guy is a can't-miss prospect. He's going to be, you know, 100% guarantee going to be a Pro Bowler for, you know, the next decade and all that. And that's fine. You know, if you want to take a guy who you know is going to be great, then fine. But taking him to second overall, which is my argument for 3 out of the 4 guys on this list, is not worth it in my opinion. And I'll go into a trade scenario that I think can go down, and if you want to take 3 out of those 4 guys who are going to be available, then you do it. But I don't think you take 3 out of those 4 guys, excluding Rosen obviously, with the second overall pick. So let's go over the truth about the NFL and kind of the league it is today. The NFL is obviously a passing league. I'm sure we all can agree on that. Let's also say that most teams in the NFL, well, not most, but there's a lot of teams out there that are really, really thirsty for a young quarterback. And, you know, you think of teams like the Arizona Cardinals, the Buffalo Bills, the Denver Broncos, who signed Case Keenum, but you really can't rely on a guy who's been good for 1 year, who was on a perfect team. No shot at Case Keenum, but let's be honest, he was in a perfect situation. Who else we got? The Jets, who obviously moved up. The Browns need a quarterback, but they're in front of us, so that's kind of ruled out. Who else? We got Miami, who needs a quarterback. There are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks out there. We are the team that holds the second overall pick in this draft. And if we go ahead and pick a non-quarterback with that second overall pick, it'll be the stupidest thing that this organization may have ever done. And you know, as I said, I don't mind taking Saquon Barkley. I don't mind taking Bradley Chubb. I don't mind taking Quentin Nelson. Do not take them second overall. It doesn't make sense. If I'm Dave Gettleman and I'm completely sold on Saquon Barkley being my pick, I'm doing everything in my power to call the Broncos and say, hey, what can we get from you to exchange the 5th pick for the 2nd pick? Because here's what's going to happen. The Browns are going to get a quarterback. The Broncos, with our pick, will get a quarterback. The Jets are sure as hell getting the quarterback. The Browns are going to take another position player who I think would be Chubb because they're going to put him opposite of Myles Garrett to be, you know, just a great tandem for the next decade or so. And then we're there with Saquon Barkley, 5th overall, plus more draft picks on top of that. It makes a lot more sense than to just take a running back 2nd overall. So I was watching TV today, and I was watching that Colin Cowherd show. And basically they talked about the Giants' 2nd overall pick, and he had a guest on, I think his name is Joel Klatt or something. He does something with college football analyst, announcer, or something like that. But anyway, they talked about the Giants' 2nd overall pick, and I agree with pretty much everything they said here, so for that reason, I'm just going to play it for you guys real quick.
I think the New York Giants, I'll just say it, and I like Saquon Barkley when he's here.
Yeah.
If they take a running back with a 2 pick, I think they're making a big mistake.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I don't
Barkley's
like it.
One of my favorite players, right? Like, I love it. He's a great teammate. Unbelievable character, great work ethic, team leader. He's sensational on the field. And yet, like, you have to draft Saquon Barkley with a bit of context because he's not going to fix your run game. People are like, what do you mean? Just look at his college career. Okay, there were several. He only had over 20 carries twice. He's not a carry-the-mail tailback.
Yeah, last year in college, over 20 twice.
Only twice. When you look at a guy like even Christian McCaffrey or even Zeke Elliott, a couple of first-round backs over the last couple of years, look at what they did. Barkley, over 20, only twice, and games under 3 yards per rush 3 different times. Zeke Elliott, In his last year, over 20 attempts in 9 games, and games under 3 yards per rush only once, and that was the Michigan State loss. Christian McCaffrey, over 20 attempts in 8 games, and games held under 3 yards per rush 0 times. In fact, he wasn't held under 4 yards.
So as you can see, there was a lot of good stuff said there. I'm not out here to bash Saquon Barkley, but I think some of the fans have kind of unrealistic expectations for the guy. I feel like in some fans' minds, they expect to give him the ball 25 to 30 times and automatically rush for 100 yards every game and just expect it to work. The first video, the first Giants report, I went over Todd Gurley and, how different he was from 2016 to 2017. He was the same player, but had a different offensive line the next year, a different offensive coordinator the next year. So much of the running back position depends on the guys in front of you and the guy calling the plays. And Pat Shurmur's a lot better than Ben McAdoo, I can tell you that. But if the Giants' offensive line is not good, you're not going to maximize what Saquon Barkley can be. And look, Eli Manning is 37 years old. He's on an obvious decline. If you think Eli Manning is not on a decline, you really have to go back and watch. He's nowhere near where he was in 2011, 2012. He did put up good numbers in 2014, 2015, but that's because Odell Beckham was just ridiculous. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm not trying to take anything away from Eli, but he was just insane. Not everything last year was Eli's fault. I'm not trying to say that. I think if you put Eli with a competent left tackle and offensive line overall, and a guy who actually knows how to call plays, then I think Eli can give us, another, high 20s touchdown and maybe 10 to 12 interception type of season with 4,500 yards. I think Eli still has it in him, and I saw a picture of him at his Duke camp that he does every year. He looked like he was in really good shape, so I'm excited for Eli. But it's about that time. We have to start thinking about the future. As I said, I think this team is in rebuild mode. I don't think Saquon Barkley equals playoffs for us. I'd rather prepare for the next 15 years of winning rather than focus on having a good running back for the next 3 or 4 years and have to pay Saquon Barkley a massive amount when his rookie contract is over. I'd rather just take Josh Rosen. I can tell he's going to be really good. He's really smart, really accurate, really good pocket passer. He's everything you would want. People are concerned because he's not durable or he has too many concussions or may say the wrong things. But when you look at him as a pure quarterback, there's nothing wrong with Josh Rosen. So yes, I think Josh Rosen's going to be a star in this league. The only thing that's going to hold him back would be going to the wrong team or sustaining too many injuries. I think barring those two things, if you just grade Josh Rosen the player, I don't see any way that he's not going to be like a top 10 quarterback in the next 5 years. He's just too good. He's naturally just too good. You think about this guy went from playing tennis to just playing football and just being really good at it. He's such a pure natural passer, and it's amazing. Watching this kid throw the ball, how accurate he is, how he can diagnose a defense before the play even happens. People want to say Josh Rosen being smart is a bad thing, and what the hell does that mean? That doesn't make any sense. You want a smart quarterback. You want your teammates to respect you. You're the most important position on the field. Josh Rosen is going to be a great quarterback in this league, and I do not want to pass up on him. If I have to watch Josh Rosen put on green and white every week and lead the Jets to a couple Super Bowls within the next 10 years, I'm going to be really pissed, along with a lot of Giants fans. So that's not a mistake I want to make. I just want to get this pick right. It needs to be a quarterback or trade back with the Broncos and get a lot of picks. That's where I stand right now. If I'm Dave Gettleman, I'm going the safe route. I'm taking Josh Rosen second overall, not looking back. If you want Saquon Barkley, you trade with the Broncos, who I literally just saw they're trying to trade that pick. You trade with the Broncos. Tell John Elway you can get your quarterback second overall, and just never look back. Get your picks or get Josh Rosen. That's pretty much where I'm at right now with this. So hopefully the draft goes well. I don't want to take Barkley second overall. Don't want to take Chubb second overall. Don't want to take Nelson second overall. If we take them fifth overall and get more picks back, I can deal with it. I can live with that. I'm not going to root against any of those guys. If Saquon Barkley is a Giant, I will never root against him. If you have my uniform on, I'm going to root for you. So that's the way it is. I think the smart thing is to take the quarterback, and hopefully Josh Rosen turns into, as I said, a top 10 quarterback in this league, which I believe he will become one day. So this video has been going for about 15 minutes now, and I want to cut it pretty soon. Just a few more things. Des Bryant to the Giants. No, I don't want it to happen. Too much of a distraction. He's not good anymore. Second, Eric Flowers. I don't know why he's not showing up to the mini camp, whatever's going on right now, off-season workouts, whatever it's called. You better have a good excuse, Eric Flowers. I mean, I don't know what the hell you're doing. I mean, your career is literally going to be on the line this year. The Giants are not going to pick up his option if he sucks again this year. Another thing, Eli Apple, I want to kind of just give him some props real quick because, I haven't heard of his name yet in the offseason, which is definitely a good thing. Staying low-key in the offseason is definitely a good thing. So hopefully Eli Apple learned his lesson and comes in more mature next year. And, hopefully the beef between him and Landon Collins is settled. They both said it's settled, so, hopefully that's true. And, as for the draft, it's less than a week away now. I'm really excited, but I'm also really nervous about this because I feel like they're not going to take advantage of having a pick this high. I think they're going to, if they take Saquon number 2, I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. If you want to trade back and take Saquon, totally cool with that. I want a quarterback, of course, and we're not all going to be happy. There's those fans that want a quarterback, those fans that want a running back, and, some people want Quentin Nelson and stuff like that. So we're not all going to be satisfied. But, at the end of the day, we're still going to root for the Giants, and we got to learn to like whoever they take. Whoever they take is going to be a really talented player. The Giants are going to take a punter with the 2nd overall pick. They're going to take a really, really good prospect, and we just have to live with it. So, hopefully the draft satisfies all of us, and after the draft, I'll definitely do a video reacting to it. Hopefully they get a quarterback for my sake, and we could take a running back 2nd round like Ronald Jones, Darius Geis, whoever. I think that makes a lot more sense. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys after the draft, as I said, and peace out.